All right, let's do this thing. Cue the fake music. Howdy, I am James Victoria, and I want to welcome you to The Right Questions, the podcast designed to set you free. Hey, you know what? That's a good name. Gee whiz, the podcast designed to set you free. Because really, that's what my purpose is, right? That's what my purpose is, to make your life easier, to set you free, to allow you to use your gifts, use your talents, without the blocks, without the bullshit, so you can get paid to do what you love. The podcast designed to set you free. I'm going to think about that for a while. That's a good idea. Okay, let me ask you a question. It's serious because I said ask. Let me ask you a question. Are you a fake? No, I'm serious. Think about it for a second. Are you a fake? Are you a fraud? You know, a fake, an imposter, or someone who lays claim to something that they are not. Do you lay claim to something that you are not? I think you do. I think you are a fake. Because I think that you feel that you are an imposter, and that would be false. Because you are then pretending that you are anything less than glorious. I go back to Soren Kierkegaard, the Danish philosopher and poet and social critic, my favorite title, social critic. And he wrote that the most common form of despair is not being who you are, not being who you truly are. I really dig that because it really boils it down for us. Like, I believe so many of us think that we are imposters, and that is not who we are. Because listen, you want to know a secret? I'm a fake too. I'm a fake. I wrote about it in Fact Perfection. I'm a big fat fake. I wrote about it in Fact Perfection. Like, I'm not an author. I didn't go to school for that. I don't know how to write. I made some funny puns. I put them in a sentence. Put those sentences in some paragraphs. Some dumb publisher was silly enough to agree with me. And I'm not qualified to have a podcast. I didn't go to school for that. I don't have a degree in communications or an $80,000 studio. And my microphone is not a Shure MZX77 XLR Expialidocious. I don't have a degree as a psychologist. I'm not a licensed therapist. Who do I think I am? I'm just an artist. Wait, I'm not really an artist. I just make some silly drawings. People like them. Some people buy them. Jerks, obviously. So we all suffer a degree of fakedom, a degree of poser or impostorious, right? We're all imposers. Imposers, see? I don't even know how to use words. We all suffer from imposter syndrome. Oh, God, I hate that we even had that nomenclature to it, and I'll get to that later. But here's a list. I made up this list. Check off the boxes that apply to you, because there's a number of ways that being a fraud or fake or that imposter syndrome shows up in our lives or expresses itself. So here, good, follow me with this. One, you feel lucky. You got lucky when you actually prepared well and worked hard. I often say that. I'm just lucky to be. I'm just lucky to be here. Or you find it hard to accept praise. I got to put 3 checks next to that one myself. You apologize a lot. You apologize for yourself. I mean, quite frankly, you apologize for just being. You apologize for yourself. You apologize for your work when you didn't actually do anything wrong. You hold yourself to incredibly high, sometimes impossibly high standards. You find the fear of failure just paralyzing. Literally, it just stops you from doing anything. So you're stuck in your crappy job forever, right? Because at least you're not failing there. You're getting by. People don't notice. But you would fail at anything else. Or you avoid expressing confidence about yourself because you think people will see it as overcompensating or obnoxious. Or who the hell do you think you are? Or you're convinced that you're not enough. Or, check this out, people close to you say you're not as confident as you used to be. Wow, that's a tough one. Or you turn down opportunities for growth or visibility at work or in your life. Quite frankly, there are lots of ways that the sabotage goes on in our life and our work for an imposter, right? So where does this imposter come from? Who is this person? And how did he get into our lives? You know where it comes from? It doesn't come from us. We choose it, and we choose to own it, but it is not ours. This idea, this idea that has been, it's like one of those railroad spikes that's been just driven hard into our soul, into our brain. This idea was, like many of these bad habits, was given to us. It was bequeathed. It's a gift that we inherited from our family that we need to throw away, quite frankly. I mean, don't even re-gift it, because that would be a sin. You wouldn't want this on your worst enemy, would you? Or maybe we took it on. We just assumed it. It was just some clothing that was sitting around the house when you were a kid. You know, it was comfortable because of the air around us, right? A family trait. You know, you were shamed if you ever stepped up. You were made fun of expressing who you are, right? I mean, hell, my first book was called Who Died and Made You Boss, right? That's an expression from my family. You got that one. That was the penalty for stepping outside of your pay grade. Anytime I chose to do something, as bold or mature, I got smacked back down with, who died and made you boss? It means get to the back of the line, Buster. Often families that value achievement, right? We get the imposter syndrome from that because nothing we do is going to be perfect, right? So the imposter syndrome comes out as perfectionism or procrastination or many of the other ways for us not to do anything, never to make a move. Because we always just kind of expect the other shoe to drop, right? We expect that thwack upside the head. Who died and made you boss? For many of us who experience imposter syndrome, we end up sabotaging our own success because we obsess over minor mistakes. Does that sound like a graphic designer? Does that sound like a graphic designer to you? Obsessing over minor details until 2:00 in the morning? I don't know. Might sound like a graphic designer. Might sound like it's what you just it was on the card that you signed up for. I'm sorry you didn't see that little detail there, but you're gonna have to stay up until 2:00 worrying about the space between letters. Or possibly we work twice as hard to prove ourselves. But really no one's judging us except us. I had a coaching client. This guy was a genius. This guy was a CEO of his agency. He was a maximum overachiever. We were all, I first met him at one of the events I threw, and we were all kind of afraid of him. He was this maximum overachiever, super successful guy. He ran marathons. He did a dual degree in math and biology in college, right? Worked his way up from literally cleaning the floor to the CEO of his agency. But the thing is, nothing was ever enough for him. So I took him for a walk. We were walking around the block, and I said, "Hey, Pete, got a question for you. When is enough enough?" Right now, you're thinking, "Oh man, I wish James Victori could be my mentor, my guru. Hell, I wish he was my coach." Well, you can make that happen. Go to yourworkisagift.com. There's a questionnaire that will probably help you out, but it'll also give you access to a free call. So let's talk. Let's free you from overwhelm and creative frustration. Let's build your business and help you get paid to do what you love. Again, go to yourworkisagift.com. Let's talk. And the guy just busted into tears because he got it. He knew it. He was always trying to impress his dad. But he didn't really have to. And because of this, he never celebrated his successes. That's why he came to me. He would just move on to the next thing to crush. He came to crush my event. But he never had it pointed out. And once we dislodged that thing, then he could just move forward and actually have relationships. He actually just start enjoying his life. So for a lot of us, we're taught that it's not okay to say that you're good at things or be good at things. Sometimes it's in our culture to look small or not own your prominence. Or bragging is seen as boorish. I had a friend who grew up in a small town in the UK, and he told me a story of he was 17 and he wanted to give himself a birthday present, so he rented this fancy car and he drove around in his fancy car, and he suffered just unending taunting because of that. How dare you? How dare you seem? How dare you step above us, right? It becomes so difficult to do what I urge us all to do, that when we're kids, we are allowed to do, until it's smacked out of us, of course, we're allowed to say, "Hey, look at me. Look what I can do." That gets beaten out of us sometimes. By family, by culture, by bosses, whatever. So we learn to walk around apologizing for our greatness or our work, because we don't want to seem like we're some egomaniac. Oh God, heaven forbid you have an ego. I wrote something the other day, and I wrote some about me as a coach, and I said, I'm really good at my job. And then in parentheses, I said, it ain't bragging if it's true. And I realized what I was doing was I was trying to diminish my greatness, right? I was like saying, hey, I literally was telling myself, well, who died and made you boss, right? We do this to ourselves. And I'm going to tell you right now, if no one else has told you, it's okay to believe in yourself. Actually, it's called self-respect, right? Or it is a quality called integrity, being yourself, allowing yourself to hold yourself at a high esteem. and to know that you are good at something. You're probably good at many things. Like me, I'm good at many things, and often it's just a difficult problem is like figuring out which one to get paid for today. It's also good to know that you're not good at things. There's a whole laundry list of shit I'm not good at, so I just kind of stay away from that. I mean, I distinctly remember a moment in high school when I freed myself. God, it was such a relief. I freed myself, and in answering a direct question from a teacher, I just said, I don't know. I know, sounds crazy, right? You don't say that shit in school. But what I meant was, I'm not going to sweat it out here, thinking that I need to make something up to prove something to you. I actually do not know. Please assist me. And along with that idea, we are deathly afraid of being made fun of. And in the school situation, or in that situation, we're afraid of saying something right. We're afraid of saying something right, equally as afraid as saying something wrong. Right? And for us today to claim that I'm an artist or I'm good at this thing, we feel like we have to back up our claim. Be like others, they're obviously other people, they're going to want proof. They're going to want proof. Like me writing about me being a good professional coach. Like, I better say, it ain't bragging if it's true, because it's true, you know? But we know, you and I know, that it works the other way around, actually. You declare what you are, and then it becomes true. We don't have to prove ourselves to anybody. We can just say what we are. We can just say what we want to be. And then it becomes true. This is your reality. Your reality to claim and to own. Knowing that what you know and what you've observed about yourself, no matter who else and whatever else other people are saying, it is yours. And you don't actually have to have any supporting evidence for any of your opinions. You can just be. You're allowed to say, I'm an artist, and have no real world backup other than that's your feeling and your knowingness of yourself. I will never correct my children when they say, I'm an artist, I'm a builder, I'm a this, I'm a that. I will never correct them. And I don't want anybody to correct me. You could be 50 years old, having never created in your busy life, ever. And you are still within your full rights to just start saying, I'm an artist, and then go and be one. That's fine. It's within no one else's right to stop you or to claim you are other. Because you are speaking about you, and you are the only person with authority to do so. If you know that it's true about yourself, then so be it. You do not live life on the witness stand. No one is waiting to grill you. Say what you know is true for you, and do not budge for the naysayers, the real ones or the ones in your frickin' head. James Victoria, I have lived my life waiting for the art police to come and stop me. They're gonna ring my doorbell any moment, bing bong, and they're gonna say, Mr. Victoria, we're the art police. We would like to see your papers, please. Your certificate. But you know what? They've never come. And if you are in a situation, a circumstance, an atmosphere where you are being heckled by a crowd or by people saying that you're a fake, or you're not a real this or that, that says something about the people you're hanging out with. There's a change that needs to happen. You need to move away from that shit. And if you do, and if you are in that situation, and you do need help, ask me. I'm very good at helping creatives deal with this struggle. This creative struggle, this process of sharing our gift with the world. I'm very good at helping people get that out the door. You see that? I said I was good at something, and I didn't give any disclaimers. So we can learn. So the problem is you. Obviously, the problem is you, right? And the problem is this: you're weird. You are unique and different and beautiful. And that makes you feel uncomfortable. Because you don't fit in. And as it says in the creative Bible titled Feck Perfection, not fitting in is your first glimpse of greatness. And that's hard to handle. I get it. And the hard part of all this, the hard part is believing. The hard part is just believing in yourself. And I understand the struggle of believing in yourself and of your art. But I'm going to give you the tool how to believe in yourself. And that tool is just practice, and it's called trust. Trust. And trust comes in 3 parts. It comes in trusting yourself, knowing that you have the answers, knowing that you're enough, knowing you don't have to go researching your whole fucking life, looking for proof, judging yourself, or comparing yourself with other people. Just be yourself. Just trust yourself. And then trust your work. Trust your work. It's good enough. It comes from you. Keep going. If you think it sucks, it may suck, but keep going, because that's how it's going to get better. And that's how it's going to get great. Just keep going. I've seen it. I tell you every week. I'm watching. I'm like Santa. I see the naughty ones and the nice ones. Most of you are pretty nice. I see you working, and I see the work getting better. Keep going. Trust your work. So trust your audience, trust your work, and here's the third one. Trust your audience. They will come and they will go. They will weed themselves out. Don't worry about that. I have I got this fear of sending out newsletters. Every time I send out a newsletter, I lose subscribers. I'm like, fuck, what did I say? What did I say? I lost subscribers. I sent out a kind newsletter on Mother's Day, and I lost subscribers. I'm like, oh my God, what do these people want? And I finally started working with somebody who's saying, and she's telling me, and she says, we're going to drive them away now. I'm like, okay. And I have to trust that. I have to trust my audience. Now, a large part of this imposter syndrome is the words we use, the vocabulary we use, the nomenclature, the fact that those 2 words put together exist. Right? Because it's a phrase we have in our language and we've adopted as our own. We use that. If you use that in conversation, people are like, oh yeah, I got that. No, you don't. Double check yourself before you double wreck yourself. You don't have it. You lean on it like a post, right? But when that post is gone, you're going to fall over. So stand up on your own. It's like the starving artist thing. Starving artist doesn't exist. That's just a house we lean on because we can't stand up on our own. A starving artist is an artist that doesn't know they're in business. So we see ourselves, we identify as an imposter without really investigating it. So here's a few interesting ideas or thoughts or questions about imposter syndrome. One thing I remember a bunch of years ago, I was asked when I had started receiving awards, getting into exhibitions and receiving awards from around the world for my posters. And people said, does that help you? Does that help you? And I'm like, no, not really. So does recognition and achievements alleviate imposter syndrome? No, not really. It might help you become more bold. But just like fear, any other fear, it never really goes away. Imposter syndrome never really goes away. But recognition and achievements may help us deal with it. And when I start talking about dealing with it, I'm talking about confronting it, help us face it, help us see that it may not possibly apply to us. Do recognition and achievements alleviate the syndrome? No, because it's not about the accomplishments, is it? It's about our attitude towards them. Aha, you see? So this spike that's inside us that we give a loving name like imposter syndrome, that's just embedded in us. So no accomplishment is going to get rid of that. It is merely our attitude towards accomplishments. And a shitty attitude begets more shit. So we need to learn to celebrate ourselves for just being ourselves, independent of any success. And then we can get used to this feeling of us being a fraud. And that's what comes from confronting it, by facing it, by accepting that it is in us. Then we can move forward and face it head on and not allow it to control our actions or our words. Remember, that's the only things that we are in control of, our thoughts and our actions. And if we can start to arrest those, we can start to change those. We can get used to that bad habit of thinking of ourselves as an imposter and replace it with a better attitude, the better idea of that we are weird and we are unique and we make beautiful things. Or crappy things. If you want to make crappy things, awesome. I make lots of crappy things and I think they're funny. So we can learn to check that feeling when it arises, or check our words when they come up and put them back down, flush them down the toilet, right? And not let our emotions drive us, because our feelings lie, right? And our feelings and our emotions are not fixed or permanent. Imposter syndrome, when that word comes up, it's just a word, it's just a thought, and we can change our thoughts. We are not that thing. Just like we fix all habits, we replace the bad with the good. Here's another idea. Imposter syndrome is very common when we take on a new role, right? Or we feel we lack experience in a place. Like you are asked to step up, or you take a new job and there's a lot of fear involved. Or you're given a new position. I think we're going to move you up, son, right? Listen, here's the big thing. The fact that you're at that point means that you are ready. That you are ready. Because guess what? You will never really be ready. You will never really be ready. By the time I'm ready, really feel ready to be an author is when I'm 80. Then I'll be a good writer. Right? So we need to confront that feeling and say, we'll never really be ready. But the fact that we've been called, or the fact that we've we've even have that feeling of excitement means we're ready, means we got to move. And the great thing about moving into a new job or a new higher position or putting ourselves out into the world in a new way and that and feeling like a fake, here's the good news. Guess what? Nobody knows. Nobody knows that you feel that way. And the second part of that, guess what, is nobody cares. How beautiful is that? How beautiful is that? And here's the big point. So here's the thing, and I try to impress this upon everybody. When that feeling arises, when you get imposter syndrome, and that feeling in your stomach comes, what happens is we call it imposter syndrome instead of calling it excitement. Instead of calling it anticipation, instead of calling it growth. That feeling is the call. That is, you are being asked to step up. Ready or fucking not. Step up. I have been backstage with greatness, waiting to get on stage, and I've seen them sweat and throw up in garbage cans, right? Amazing careers, do amazing work. They're great on stage, but they get imposter syndrome. That's the call, man. How you accept it, how you allow it to leave your body is up to you. But you're being asked to step up. And that is excitement and anticipation. Me, when I'm ready to get on stage, I am like, let's go, baby. Let me at them. Are there specific challenges and triggers for us as creative? For me, I think it's anything new, right? A new client. Oh my God, a new client comes. I'm like, what can I possibly do for them? You know? So I have to just basically take a breath and go, hey, you know what? They called me. Obviously, I'm ready. You know, but a new job or a new assignment, man, even new coaching clients, I'm like, what could I possibly do for this guy? He's like so cool. He's cooler than me. She's so accomplished. She's such a great artist. What could I possibly do? Who, me? Right? Then I take a breath and I'm like, that's the call, baby. I'm obviously ready for this. Let's go. But this feeling, this idea, this is what keeps us down. This is what stops our creative growth because we're avoiding the new. We're avoiding growth. We're avoiding change. And if we don't step up and we don't confront ourselves, then we don't get that wonderful feeling. You know that wonderful feeling. It goes like this. I didn't die. Oh my God, I did that thing and I can do it again. How fucking cool am I? Can you imagine a movie about a young girl in a world? There's a young girl. You know, she sets out to, let's say, get on the Little League team. Right? And then she does. She just gets on the Little League team. And guess what? She keeps going. Right? She plays games and she scores points. You know, and she just does it. Right? Completely boring story. It's a completely boring story and completely not true because what we're trying to do is imagine a life without challenges, with no struggle, with no inner demons. That's what life is about, right? Self-doubt and resistance and failure are part of the game. They are the dance. They quite frankly make it interesting. And only when we conquer self-doubt can we feel good about ourselves and can we grow. We wouldn't feel good about that girl, the young girl in the movie, because we haven't seen her actually suffer anything and succeed because of it, right? So we all need reminders. We need our personal reminders. And our most important reminders are our words, our conversations that we have with ourselves. You know, we have to learn to catch those words that we're saying, catch those words that come out of our mouths, catch those thoughts. You know, I've learned to use my notes to self, right? You know, I've got a studio full of notes of like, hey, you know, you're amazing. You know, your own personal mood board, whatever it takes. Hey, I'm a believer in whatever it takes. Do what it takes to fix your shit. You know, I'm at this crux. You know, the coming of this new year, I'm at this crux of this point. I've got these massive projects that I want to do that I'm like, oh my God, I've never thought about that. Let me get this out the door. I've got these massive challenges and resistance that I've got to overcome. Man, this is exciting. I should be suffering deeply. Imposter syndrome. Oh my God, how am I going to do this? There's so much to do. I should be staying in bed all day, you know, because imposter syndrome and that habit can become crushing. I've seen it before. I've felt it before. But we got to fix our shit. Because allowing imposter syndrome or anything that's called a syndrome, allowing any of these things to stop you is going to lead to burnout. And burnout is not only real, but epidemic. It is epidemic in our society. And it can lead to stress. And stress always leads to disease. Right? Oh my God, lions, tigers, and motherfucking bears. So let's fix our shit. Let's take care of this. There is no thing such as imposter syndrome. There are only the words we choose to use on ourselves. So the vocabulary we use is wrong. There is no imposter syndrome. There is only the call. There is only excitement and challenges. And there is always this thing called new to be poked at and to be created. So we have to embrace it and say yes to everything. To say, I got this to everything. And to celebrate everything. And the problem with claiming to be an imposter is that you are amputating so much of yourself off. And you're stopping yourself from enjoying all the richness that life wants to give you. So the only time you are truly a fake, take it from me, the only time you're truly a fake is when you don't see yourself as an amazing fucking creature. You are not an imposter. You are actually capable of so many wonderful things that it's hard to choose which one to be paid for. I'm James Victori, and this is The Right Questions. Thank you so much for being here, all of you imposters. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for supporting this program. I love you, and I'll be back at you.